Okay, so last week we rushed through the last 5 minutes, a whole sugya, which I want to spend the time today getting into that. And it's a little bit deeper than regular, so I asked that if you don't understand something, speak up and we'll have a conversation about it, okay? So now, like this. The Ravid we were being masber, what needs to be explained for us is the shita of the Ravid, which the Kesef Mishnah says about the Ravid, the kachi emes. Kachi emes. What's the shita of the Ravid? The shita of the Ravid is that when Moshiach comes, he has to show oisis u'moifsin. He must do miracles. And if Moshiach doesn't do miracles, that means he's not Moshiach. And that's how the Chum knew he wasn't Moshiach, Bar Kochva, etc. According to the Ravid, according to the way the Rebbe is masber, according to the way the Rebbe is masber, the Gedder of Mashiach includes Eisus U'Meivsim. The very definition of Mashiach includes Eisus U'Meivsim, because you can't test a person on something which is not their inyan. If Mashiach's inyan is to bring Shleimus HaTorah Mitzvah, that's the Rambam Shita, then Ma Kesher, you're testing him on that. It's very nice that you're expecting it to happen. You may even have nevuahs that it's going to happen. It may end up happening at some point in history, but it's not who Mashiach is. It's not without this, who do you think you are to be showing up as Mashiach B'chlal? Mashenking, the Ravid says, no, if you're not doing Eisus U'Meivsim, we have nothing to talk about. You're not Mashiach. And therefore the question arises, what's going on? And to suggest that the Ravid holds that Mashiach has nothing to do with Shleimus HaTorah Mitzvah is very difficult. There's many rayos fakert, including the beginning of the Perek Yud Aleph, where the Rambam, he doesn't disagree with the definition of Mashiach. The Rambam opens up the whole Hilchos Melech HaMashiach, HaMelech HaMashiach, Asid L'Hachzer Malchus Beis David L'Yeshtel L'Mshala Rishayna V'Choyzin Kol HaMishpatim K'Shehayu B'Yamav V'Chulu V'Chulu. He defines Mashiach. No one disagrees with him. He says, how do you know when he's Mashiach Vadei? No one disagrees with him. What's Mashiach Vadei? Shleimus HaTorah Mitzvah. But so why is it so critical and so vital for Mashiach to do Eisus U'Meivsim, to the point that if he doesn't do Eisus U'Meivsim, it's not in Yanik? Okay. That's the question. That's the question. So now, that's exactly what we're here to do, to explain, that look in the Alter Rebbe Chassidus, is the Teresh B'Ksav Chassidus, or Perek Lamed Vav Lamed Zayin, would be the prakim we're looking for Yemais HaMashiach. That's where we have Mashiach in Tanya, Be'ikr. And the Alter Rebbe right over there describes Mashiach, and what he says is, he describes about Gilui Likuz, and he says the following words: V'noida, it is known sheyemais haMashiach, that the days of Mashiach, ubefrat k'sheyichyu hamesim, especially by tchis hamesim, heim tachlis ushleimos brias olam haza shalekach nivra mitchilose. That is the tachlis shleimos of the world and why it was created in the first place. Azoi. So now the question is why. Now the Rebbe asked this question explicitly in a sikha, in a ha'ara. Yemais HaMashiach, I could have said, why is it the Tachlis HaShleimos? Shleimos HaTorah Mitzvah. The purpose of everything is Torah Mitzvahs. We get to keep all 613 mitzvahs, Tachlis. But Tchias HaMeisim, what's even the Svara B'chlal? What's even the Svara B'chlal? Right? So that's the question. Fine. In other words, we're already seeing a different description of Mashiach than the Rambam. We're already seeing that the Alter Rebbe, it's about Gilui Likuz, it's about different inyana. I thought it's Shleimus HaTorah Mitzvah. We get to keep all the mitzvahs. We finally get to do it. And B'chlal, the Rambam's shita seems to make more sense than what the Alter Rebbe is saying. Why? Because what the Alter Rebbe seems to be describing is reward. He says, by the way, Ubefrat K'sheyichu HaMeisim. Tchias HaMeisim, the ultimate Tachlis Shleimus Shalekach Nivra Mitchilase. Why the world is created L'Chatchila was for Tchias HaMeisim. Why does it make more sense, the Chayda, like the Rambam? Okay, so there's a famous Mishnah. Ubefrat kishe yichya, in the time of Tchias HaMeisim. Not Tchias HaMeisim. In the Zman of Tchias HaMeisim is... And the way the Rebbe frames the question in the Ha'ara is that it says that mitzvahs p'telis dasalavi in the Zman of Tchias HaMeisim. So vas be'ikir Tchias HaMeisim l'chayre is the chazman, which is right, which we already explained. It doesn't mean kipshute, but still the concept, the inyan l'chayre is more about gili l'kos, more schar. Das is tachlis, so maybe the tachlis is that. So we have the famous Mishnah in Pirkei Avos where it seems to contradict itself, but it's b'chlal not a contradiction. What's the Mishnah? It says in Pirkei Avos that it's worth 1 hour of tshuva ma'aseh in this world more than the entire world to come. Continues the Mishnah, the exact opposite. That 1 hour in Eilam Haba is worth Kodesh Ruach is worth more than the entire Eilam Hazeh. So what's the answer? The answer is, depends what perspective you're looking at. Mitzad accomplishment, mitzad purpose, the whole Eilam Haba doesn't compare to 1 hour in this world. Why? Because the Eibishter, we're the will of Hashem. We're giving the Eibishter pleasure. How can anything compare to that? Nothing in the world compares to a Yid living in this world doing Torah mitzvahs. The pleasure that you experience, the experience of the world to come is a much more serious experience in this world. 1 hour in the world to come is worth, the pleasure is more than all the pleasures of this world combined. In the words of the Rebbe Maharash, this half of the Mishnah is Tainug Boida, and this half is Tainug Nivra, the pleasure of the Creator versus the pleasure of the creation, and the two cannot be compared. Right? So we're already seeing l'chayda that the tachlis shleimus brias ha'olam should be right now. We're doing Torah mitzvahs. Maybe when also Yemei Moshiach, we're going to get to be able to do mamish even more mitzvahs. But was etwas tchias ha'meisam? Was etwas in Yonah von Schar? That's first of all. And second of all, a question that Rebbe asked in a sikha, which is, so where did the schar come in? Where does schar really come into the picture? If we're giving the Eibishter pleasure, where does schar get into the picture? So you could say very simple. If you don't give schar, maybe people won't do it. Human beings. If there's no schar v'einish, people are going home. If it's just for God, they don't appreciate the emes mepneishu emes. Avraham Avinu, he did the emes because it's the emes. It doesn't even need schar. But seifas schar love, but it's not relevant b'chlal. But I'll be pasha without getting into the reasons in order to push human beings, etc. We're going to get to the answer to that. But I'll be pasha. It says, "Ein HaKadosh Baruch Hu mekapech schar kol beria." We actually had it in a Rashi in last week's parsha, Parshas Mishpatim, but to get to throwing the meat to the dog. Rashi says, "Ein HaKadosh Baruch Hu." The Eibishter does not. The Eibishter bleibt nicht kein Baal Choiv is another way of saying it in Yiddish. If you worked for him, he's a yosher, he's perfect, and he pays you for your reward. And therefore, of course, you're the one who accomplished such a great accomplishment. You gave Tainuk Boida. You gave the Eibishter pleasure. For sure, you deserve something. You deserve something. You get reward, and it's very, very beautiful, very nice. The problem is the chayda doesn't seem equal. Doesn't seem commensurate, because no matter how much reward and pleasure we get, the pleasure to us is not the same thing as Hashem's pleasure. If we gave the Almighty pleasure, where's the reward for that? There seems to be no reward He could give us that could be enough for what we've accomplished. You do a job worth $10 billion, you only got $1 billion worth. Of course, it's bleak, vul, and gvul, but the question is, how is the Eibishter Taka rewarding us properly for the tremendous accomplishment of what we've done? Yeah? Okay. So, l'chayda, the answer is, that already getting to the explanation over here, it could already hint, we already start seeing the answer. If you look in the next Perek in Tanya, Perek Lamed Zayin, he says, "V'hinei tachlis hashleimus hazeh shel yemois hamashiach u'tchias hamesim." This tachlis hashleimus, and he describes what shleimus am I referring to? Shehu. He spells it out explicitly. Shehu gilui ar ein soif baruch hu ba'olam hazeh hagashmi. Is in olam hazeh hagashmi that we're going to have the gilui of ar ein soif baruch hu. He emphasizes that in this physical world we have the gilui ar ein soif. And also in the end of the previous Perek, he says that in Moshiach comes, Yizdachech Gashmius Haguf, the physical world will become ganzen Yizdachech, will be refined, Va'olam, V'yuchlu L'kabel, they'll be able to be Makabel Gili Ar Hashem, which Shayarli Yisrael, which will shine to the Jews, Al Yedei HaTorah, through the Torah. The Torah is going to be, through the Torah, we're going to have the Gili Ar Hashem in the physical, the refined world. What's made this? Okay, so now, L'chayda Azay. The fact is, Hashem set up a system of Torah mitzvahs, right? Very beautiful. Mitzvahs are very mugbal, right? Do it exactly like this, not like that. How do you say mitzvahs is the hechste zach? The Eibush is the chein soif. So Chassidus, right? The Eibush is infinite. He's not defined. We're narrowing it down. So it's always explained. It's called Hagbala Atzmis. It's not a stida. Why? Because it's not be'etzim or mugbal. Hashem made a decision, made an executive decision. I will reveal myself. Ein HaKadosh Baruch Hu Ela b'dal dam b'shal halacha. He only reveals himself in the dal dam shal halacha. Hashem says it's a Hagbala that He Himself made. An Hagbala that you make is not a real Hagbala. Right? It looks like a Hagbala, but it's not really a Hagbala. In other words, behind the mitzvahs is something much deeper. Behind the mitzvahs is Arin Seif Baruch Hu, is the infinite light of Hashem. Hashem as He is with all of His glory. And Hashem, these mitzvahs are representatives of Hashem, shluchim of the Eibishter, so to speak, shluchim shaladim kameisei. And it's Nizgala, there's something behind it. In a relationship, he's doing something, but there's something behind. There's the Eibishter who's behind what the different things that you're doing. Now, the shaila is, when you're limited in the nature, how do you recognize that there's something limitless behind it? Right? It says in Chassidus that the Eibishter is so limitless, he's so not defined by the natural world that we have, that if he wanted, he could have made the world not out of 10 spheres, he could have made it out of tens of thousands of spheres. Right? In other words, a blind person doesn't know what vision means, right? We actually can't figure out anything in this world outside of the 10 spheres. Everything is made up of these 10 spheres. There's nothing beyond it. But the Eibishter is so bligvul, he chose 10, nu is vas. He could have made 11, could have made 100, could have made 1,000,000. Right? That's how bligvul he is. He's mamish not mugbil by anything. It's not about destroying nature. It's about revealing Hashem's infinite nature behind the mitzvahs that you're doing. And that's why Eisis Umayvsim, I'm still not done the Hasbara, but I'm beginning the Hasbara now. Beginning the explanation. The Eisis Umayvsim is critical because Eisis Umayvsim, when you see a miracle, you know that there's something beyond what you have in front of you. It's as simple as that. Ba'atzim Chassidus says everything's really a miracle, right? But you don't see it. The vart is, when you see Eisis Umayvsim, you see that there's a reality which has nothing to do with your reality, which is totally beyond everything that you know. Okay, so now this inyan is negeya to the ganze inyan from Shleimus HaTorah VaHaMitzvah. That Ravid agrees that the purpose of this world is Shleimus HaTorah VaHaMitzvah. He disagrees with the Rambam. How do you get Shleimus HaTorah VaHaMitzvah? The Alter Rebbe says, what is Shleimus HaTorah VaHaMitzvah? You can't have Shleimus HaTorah VaHaMitzvah without Giluyim. Don't tell me Shleimus HaTorah VaHaMitzvah just by the Hagbala of keeping the Taryag mitzvahs. I need to see the reward. I need to see the Giluyim, like in Avodas Hashem also. There's Kabbalah Sil, there's doing it, and then there's Giluyim. Giluyim is a davar noisef. Love of Hashem, fear of Hashem, being a Chassidish Yid, taka refining yourself, his dachachus. You say it's a davar noisef, it's separate. That's the tachlis. The tachlis is to do Torah mitzvahs, no, soldaten. The Rebbe learned Pshat. No, totally not. Not only do you need Giluyim, without Giluyim it's not Moshiach, that Ivid says. And without Giluyim it's not truly Atzmos. What does that mean? The Eibishter wanted a Dira B'Tachtoinim. Eibishter wanted a Dira B'Tachtoinim. A Dira B'Tachtoinim means two things. It means, first of all, the Eibishter's Etzim is found there, Hashem's essence. But also a Dira is a place where you reveal yourself. Simple as that. You throw your shoes off, you put them up on the couch, and you crack open a Coke. Hashem wants to reveal himself in this world. He wants to feel at home. And therefore, Giluyim is very much part and critical of Dira B'Tachtoinim. Now, if Hashem wanted a Dira, where did he want a Dira? B'Tachtoinim. In other words, it's not, don't say that L'gabe Atzmos, there's no difference of Giluyim. You could say such a word. The Eibishter is so high, L'may nafki minna, gas Gilui, no Gilui. The Eibishter is alabo b'Gilui. He's always revealed. There's no symptom on Atzmos. Hamar hu behis galus, Chassidus says. The mar is behis galus, there is no symptom. The problem is, the Eibishter wants a Dira B'Tachtoinim. In the Gedarim of Tachtoinim, Gilui means Gilui, and not Gilui means not Gilui. There's no running away from the definition of Giluyim as it exists in our state of being, in Olam Hazeh. And therefore the Eibishter wants a Dira B'Tachtoinim, he wants a Dira in the Gidrim, the Gedarim of Tachtin, in the definition, in the categorization of Tachtoinim. This is a vart. The fact that the Eibishter wants his Dida to have Giluyim also, that's a vart b'chlal in the Rebbe says it in many places. But the Rebbe is moisif a vart. The Rebbe says we're talking about Atzmos. Atzmos is not made up of different parts. A human being is made up of emotion and intellect. It's a composite of different. The Eibishter is absolutely one. Atzmos is not a murkiv. Murkiv means you're made up of two elements. So Hashem Sai, he wants to be nimshach, he wants to be habshach, and he wants to be begilui. Two things. The Rebbe said no. The Rebbe says Pshat is much deeper than that. How do you know you're dealing with Atzmos? If it could even come into Giluyim. If it can't deal with Gidrei HaTachtoinim, whether for us it's, to use words that we're familiar with, Teivanir Vanigla, if it's so Atzmisdik, but it can't come down in the Gedarim of a Tachtein, then you're dealing with Heichem Adreges, but you're not really truly dealing with the essence of Hashem. Because Atzmos and Mahos, true Atzmos, is not limited to being Behelim. It's even in Giluyim, even the Gedarim, it doesn't even have the limitation of being limited or being Behelim. If it doesn't have Giluyim, Sefelt, it's not truly Atzmos we're dealing with. Kshem Shekoicha means, we normally bring that fakert, that even Helim is still a Gilui of the Eibishter. Right? But that's all in Giluyim. The Shaila is Atzmos. We want to say, if a person says the Eibishter is so high that he doesn't need to be, that you know, what's lacking? Right? We don't need to have his galus because he's so high and he's so hidden also. That's a problem. If it can't be on every level exactly the same, that means true Atzmos has zero limitation whatsoever. It can even understand it from your perspective. You could even matter, by the way. I can matter. That itself is an Atzmistic Izach. It's in Yifan Atzmos. Only the Eibishter could come to such a place. Fine. And, okay, so now, being that Giluyim is so relevant, and without Giluyim, it means it's a question, it's a Shaila on the Atzmos. Therefore, for Shleimus HaTorah HaMitzvah, that Ivid says, I don't want to hear about Shleimus HaTorah HaMitzvah without Giluyim. If you're not going to show me how du bist hecher von Olam Hazeh, if you're not going to be able to show me Eises U'Meivsim, you're not Mashiach. Mashiach has to do Eises U'Meivsim. It's critical. Not because there's Shleimus HaTorah HaMitzvah, then there's a separate inyan of Eises U'Meivsim. Eises U'Meivsim means that what I'm doing through Torah Mitzvah should be Nizgala. You should know that we're dealing with the Eibishter and the Dira B'Tachtoinim, Atzmos. You're doing Hamshachas Atzmos, which could even become Bekilui. Tchias HaMeisim, yeah. Tchias HaMeisim is the ultimate within the Giluyim. That's like the Alter Rebbe. That's what the Alter Rebbe is saying. That the Tachlis Shleimus of the world, it reaches its completion in Yemais HaMashiach and in Tchias HaMeisim. Right? Which has Torah Mitzvahs and has Giluyim B'Tachlis HaShleimus. Okay? What's the question? We're talking about the Chetchila when Mashiach shows up. It's something we discussed last year, that the Rambam also agrees with Tchias HaMeisim. So why doesn't the Rambam mention a word about Tchias HaMeisim in Hilchos Mashiach? And why is the Rambam so insistent? Don't expect, al yalal, it shouldn't even enter your heart that any miracles are going to happen. What do you do? Anyone who doesn't believe Tchias HaMeisim is a kaifer be'ikr. What are you being so railing against Eises U'Meivsim? So the Rebbe was masber that he believes in it, but he has said it has nothing to do with Mashiach. Leave miracles aside and put Mashiach aside. Mashiach is Shleimus HaTorah HaMitzvah. The fact that the Eibishter is going to make miracles later on, yeah, there's Nevuas, there's Tchias HaMeisim, very beautiful. But the Ravid learned this is in Yanei for Mashiach. That's why the Chetchila, when he comes, you have to test him with Eises U'Meivsim. And based on this, we're going to understand the question we asked before. The Eibishter has to give you the proper reward. Where do you get Tainug Baida from? We asked, you're Tainug Nivra, Tainug Baida. How do I give you the reward? And the answer is that we have to understand, this is the whole vart of what the Gilui is, what the reward is. The reward is not Epis HaZayta Kizach. Schar Mitzvah. What's the reward? The reward is the vart that where's the Eibishter want a dida b'chlal? People make a mistake. The Yidden are workers for Hashem. We're making a dida in his project. What's his project? The world. The Eibishter wants a dida in us. The Eibishter wants a dida in Yidden Lamata. Yidden and Olam Hazeh. We're the dida. The Eibishter, we're here to reveal how the Eibishter, that's why the Rebbe brings this very often, the Yidden are not a Emtsoi. Emtsoi means I'm using you. I need something, I'm using you for something else. You are the Tachlis. The Dida, Yisrael, Kutshabrichu Kul Echad. Right? And the way the Eibishter comes one with us is through Torah Mitzvahs. And through Torah mitzvahs, we become one with Hashem. And therefore, actually, when Mashiach comes, what's the meaning of Mashiach? Is that we get Tainug Boida. Our joy is Hashem's joy. We're an extension of Hashem. What's our simcha in life? The fact that Hashem is besimcha. There's no the chiluk, the tainug we experience. We become extensions of the Eibishter. The Eibishter we become one. In the words of the Medrash, actually the Nisuin of the Eibishter and the Bnei Yisrael happens when Mashiach comes. We become a total unity. We become one with Hashem. The Yid, the Eibishter, marries the Jewish people. And where is it expressed in our Avodah, this Vart? The fact that we're one with Hashem. The way it's expressed is the fact that the mitzvahs which don't make sense, chukim yidden do besimcha, with a chayis, with a hergish, with a simcha. Typically, it doesn't make sense because why are you doing it? Kabbalah sel. You don't know why. So why are you so happy? If it made sense to you, if it added to your spirituality, if it added to, then Mela can Hashem verstehen. What are Yidden so besimcha for? By definition, it contradicts your mitzias. My mitzias says not to do it. You're telling me to do it. Because a Yid emes mitzias is the Eibishter. What is the true mitzias of a Yid is the Eibishter. And therefore, what is really the hachana for Mashiach? In a way, the fact that we're the lowest generation, that we don't have hoicha hergeshin, and we don't have a mind, so it means it's not. So what's the only reason why we keep doing Torah mitzvahs? What's the only reason why not only we do it besimcha with a chayis? Because we're one with the Eibishter. It doesn't even have to make sense. This is who we are. This is our core being. The Rebbe in Simchas Torah Tafshin Beis in a Sikha, the Rebbe said, by the Fabrengen, the Rebbe said, why didn't Mashiach come yet? The Rebbe said, I'll tell you the reason. The reason is because there was a wrong girsa in the Mishnah at the end of Kiddushin. People had nicht the richtige girsa. If they would, now we know what the richtige girsa is from the Melecha Shloime, and we have Kanida. The reason why Mashiach didn't come is they didn't know the right girsa. What? The Mishnah says, "I need nevreisi l'sham shes kaini." But the other girsa, which was not nefutza, was "I need loy nevreisi el l'sham shes kaini." If you say "I need nevreisi," it means I exist. Oh, you exist. Now you exist. Now let's talk about it. Oh, l'sham shes kaini. I need loy nevreisi means chab kemetzish nish b'chal. I b'chal don't exist. I need loy nevreisi, and the Rebbe says that's the avodah which is remaining. And when we do this, that's when Mashiach comes. The Rebbe said, fine. The Rebbe said we missed him all these years. This is what. What's the shaykhs to Mashiach? It's the Honakud of Mashiach. The Honakud of Mashiach is Tainug Baida. That the Eibishter reveals himself through us, that we are not distinct from Hashem. And therefore, it's not about the end of the world. That's why the Rebbe could have sichos, where he's bringing out the inyan of that even when Mashiach comes, Olam Kimin Hagi Noyig. Because B'chlana Pestira, Be'etzim Chassidus Paskins like both. Olam Kimin Hagi Noyig Einachanami, because we're not going to stop doing Torah mitzvahs. We're not going to stop, but it doesn't mean that he's not going to show Isis and Beisim. It doesn't mean fakert. It complements each other. The whole word is, it's not the world's nisbatel. The ikar will probably even be teva, but you have to be marigish begilui the Ein Sof Baruch Hu. Gili or Ein Sof Baruch Hu ba'olam hazeh hagashmi. Nizdachich gashmi yisrael. Right, and this is the ultimate. The Rebbe says in the Sikh and Chelik Hey, this is all parts of Vayigash Chelik Hey and whatever other places. But the Rebbe says this is pshat in the when it says Lo Eilam Yasik Adam B'Teira Shaloi Lishma Shemitech Shaloi Lishma Bal Lishma. Right? You should be Eisik and Teira Shaloi Lishma because from doing a Shaloi Lishma you Bal Lishma. So the Rebbe says it's mashma from the word that if it would never come Lishma you shouldn't do it. Was far word is das? How you talking? Am I so wicked? The only reason why you should do it is Bal Lishma. And if not Bal Lishma, I thought I'm Isa Waker. The Rebbe says, based on the Kudah, without Giluyim, the Rebbe says, you're missing the Iker. You're missing the Iker. What do you mean that you're missing the Iker? Giluyim is Giluyim. Davar Noisav. Who cares about Giluyim? No, Giluyim means that you're really dealing with Atzmos. If you don't have Giluyim, you could be dealing with Heicham Adregis. And with Giluyim, you could also be dealing with Heicham Adregis. But if you're truly Atzmos could even have Giluyim also. And therefore, if it wouldn't come like the Giluy, you say, oh, this doesn't come Begiluy. That means you're not really dealing with Atzmos. The reason why you should do it is because you're dealing with Atzmos, and since you're dealing with Atzmos, for sure it's going to come Begiluy. Therefore, Lo'ilam Yasik Shaloi Lishma, because you know what? It's Atzmos, so you're going to have everything. You're going to have even Lishma. And the Vart is, the idea, there's a Vart, the truth is, people nowadays, it's very common to trash the whole Avedis Chassidus of the last 7 generations. Maiso Iker. It's clear from any Sichas of the Rebbe that's not the kavanah, right? In fact, it's very relevant. The Chassidus emphasizes so much how Maiso Iker. There's no one who talks more about the value and atzmos, gefinzich in the Kabbalah Sil, mit alle Meiles. So then, what are we kvayocha wasting our time with Avedis Hatfilah, with learning Chassidus, with refining yourself, with being a Chassidish Yid? What's the point? Who cares? Maiso Eker. Therefore, then, this is like Pashat. Giluyim, that Ivid says, without Eisus Umeipsim, it's Nish Moshiach. Right? Without the Giluy Arin Seif, without his Dachach Gashmi Yisraelam, not because there's that in your Noisav, you have to keep Torah mitzvahs, and you have to be a Chassidish Yid. How do I know we're really dealing with Atzmos that's not limited in any way? Not only it's not limited, that it's a chelik from it, it's that even in Giluyim. Says I'm in Vart. Fine. Madura Basra, the last 5 minutes of last week's class. You're a goin, hast alt verstanden, schein. Right. And we're going to conclude with a last vart, which is be'etzem the same vart, but the Rebbe repeats the same sikh in Chelech Chaf Aleph in a sikha. And the vart that Rebbe says over there is like this. It says the Yidden were leaving Mitzrayim, and Avram Avinu, it says Rechush Gadol, up Rechush Gadol. So he says, Hashem says, why am I telling them to go borrow from the Mitzrim the Rechush Gadol? So Avram Avinu shouldn't have kindness to the Eibishter and say that you tortured them, but you didn't give them the Rechush Gadol. Right? So the Rebbe asked, what's the Hava Mina B'chal? There was a svara the Eibishter wouldn't keep his promise. What's he saying? Go to them, so Avram shouldn't have kindness to me. What about his promise? Keep your promise. So the Rebbe's masber that ki and bohem. There's 2 ways you can learn the Rechush Gadol that the Eibishter gave the Yidden. You can learn it that it's a reward. They worked for 200 years, and therefore they deserve reward. Or you can learn that it's a punishment to the Mitzrim. Is it a punishment to the Mitzrim that they're going to lose it? Nerva, then you're already taking it away from them. Give it to the one who had to work hard. Or is the whole point to be a reward for them? Right? Because actually, if you look in the original pasuk, the Havtacha, it says va'avadum v'inuais. I'm going to work them hard. Then it says v'games ha'avogoyas ha'shayavoidu dononayich. He talks about punishing the Mitzrim. And then it goes back va'achrei kein yetzu b'rechush gadol. So you can learn it. It's coming behemshach to a punishment of the Mitzrim, not the first part of the pasuk, which is talking about what's going to happen to the Yid. Or you can learn that it's going to happen to the Yidden. So that's what the Eibishter was saying, that I don't want the Yidden to take the Rechush from Mitzrayim. I want them to ask it from them and they should give it to them. Why? So Avraham Avinu should say, Avodim v'inu oisekiyim bahem. This loikiyim bahem. That's how the Rebbe learns Pshat. That the Rechush Gadol should be a reward to them, not a punishment to the Mitzrim. What does this mean in Avodah? And this is the relevance to us. In Aveda, the Yidden are, what's the Rechush Gadol? The Yidden are being Maila the Nitzotzis HaKdusha, right? They're taking all the sparks of holiness out of Golus. So that's l'chayda the Iker. The fact that the Yid is Zeicha to a reward, is it Pshat that since I worked hard, since I'm the guy who did the job, you're going to give me the reward? Or is the whole Kavanah to give you the reward? The whole Maila Nitzotzis was to have a Dida in you. It's all about building up your own home with Hashem. It's not another tachlis outside of you. There's no separation between you and the reward. The whole point was to give you the reward. And in Avodah nowadays, right, you could be an Eved Pashut who doesn't care what he's being poyel with his Avodah. He just knows, I'm listening to Hashem. I'm just listening to Hashem. If Hashem would tell me to chop wood, I would chop wood. If the Eibishter gives me reward at the end, it's nothing to do with anything. And then there's, which over there, when Hashem does give him the reward, it's like a davar noisav. It's separate from his avodah. It's him doing his avodah, serving Hashem. And then there's the reward. And then there's another oif that the Rebbe says. You have the bittul and the Kabbalah sil. But you're Yudeo Margis, you feel the teichen of the avodah of Dira B'Tachtainim. That you're not just doing it because Hashem said so. You understand what Chassidus is teaching, you understand what's happening, you're learning Chassidus, and you understand what's happening, you're making a Dira B'Tachtainim. And then when Hashem gives you your schar, it's not a separate inyan of schar. It's a hemshech of your avodah. Right? That the reward that you get is part of avodah. Like the mitzvah paying the yidden, it's not we're taking it away, it's not separate, you're giving it to the yidden. It was the kavanah l'chatchila, to give it to the yidden. And fine, so this is a vart that Rebbe's Masber over there, but comes out over there is the Zalban Akudah that we've been saying till now. that you can look at the reward as a separate inyan. It's not connected to the Gula. There's not connected to us per se. There's us doing Torah mitzvahs, very nice, very beautiful. There's us getting the reward, oichet, beautiful. The Rambam holds of both, and he says it's two different sugyas. Don't mix the two sugyas. Versus another way of learning is skiyim bahem. The whole purpose of the schar was to give. The whole purpose of everything you're accomplishing through Torah mitzvahs and nitzaitis, al zachin, was to take all that gold and silver and give it to you, right? And you becoming one with Hashem, Yisrael, b'kutrabricha kol echad, and that is what the Alter Rebbe says. The Mashiach is shehu. What is the Tachas Shleimus of Moshiach? Shugili Arin Seif Baruch Hu Ba'olam Hazeh Hagashmi. And he says this is Tolui, of the famous line, of course, that we'll conclude with this line. Tolui b'mayiseinu v'avidiseinu kol zman meshach hagolos ki hagoyim schar mitzvah hi ha mitzvah ba'atzma. Shkech. Mashiach now.